96.7, we'll go straight back to Lovetie. Now, Lovetie, will you tell a little bit about let's start from the beginning. Do you have any kids that has Down syndrome?
Yes, I do. My sister.
No, yeah, your sister. What's the story?
Um, the story is that we about 14 in my family, and one of my siblings had has Down syndrome, and because of that, I went to school to do education and graduated from Cottington with the education degree, and still couldn't help my sister because she learned differently from other children. So I tried, and then eventually I went to the States to do my master's in special ed and then worked for a while in the school system there. And after a while, I decided to send for my sister since Liberia still didn't cater to these children. So my sister came with me and lived with me for about 10 years in America. And what society said could not happen was able to happen. She was able to learn to read and write, and she was able to go to school, and she was able to work. At the bus would pick her up, she would go to work. And then saying that, I said, well, it would have been very selfish to just stay there and just, you know, take care of my sister and forget about the rest of my country. So I decided to bring my sister back home to celebrate and let society know now that my sister, has succeeded and she's productive. But society was not willing to accept her. They still laugh at her, threw rocks at her, and call her now American crazy girl. So I had one alternative to either take her back and forget about Liberia, but I decided I was not going to do that. So we stayed and trying now to look for other children like my sister, which we've now found over 30 kids with Down syndrome in Liberia. And we now started a database to list the kids with Down syndrome in the Monrovia area. Eventually, we'll go to the other counties around Liberia. So back home on the old road, we've started a program for kids with Down syndrome and intellectual and developmental delays. So that's where we are right now. But I got motivated to do this because my sister, she's now 38 years old, and society is still not willing to accept these children, and there's no programs, for them. So my husband and I, we don't have no funding source. For the past 3 years, we've been coming back and forth, trying to give hope to these children in our society.
Now, we got to look at the story now. I always say one thing. It's only a few people in the world will say, I read a story the other day on the internet about a Nigerian girl who her sister had died because they didn't have access to get into the hospital on time. So she became a doctor and also a pilot to be able to fly into those remote areas and fly her sister out. But the situation of Down syndrome in Liberia has always been a situation where you see the children, everybody say they're crackhead, they're slow, nobody wants to do with them, they're being boo. Let's talk in Liberia way. They tease the children. And parents live with that thing of carrying along a baggage their whole life. But in developed countries, you find out these people, they even make it on their own. Now we'll go to a psychotherapist who live in both worlds, the African world and the Western world, and ask him, why is it so here? Well, what do you think has been one of the reasons why they're being abandoned? You have a traditional background, an educative background in Africa, and also from an American perspective.
Thank you again, Emeka. Thank you, Liberia. First of all, I'd like to say to Mr. and Mrs. Major, thank you so much. You guys have a big heart. You guys have big hearts. For people to put their lives on hold just to look at a situation that affects their family and then move from just their family, immediate biological family, to now want to help a whole country, is something that we as a country should celebrate. It's something that we as a country should appreciate. And Emeka and Liberia, one of the major reasons why people have not understood that these individuals, people with Down syndrome and other developmental delays, is that we've not been educated to that point. Because we come from from a society where everything that happens in our psychology comes from the gods. So people think when a child is born with developmental delays and the rest of it, we say the person is a witch, like Burke said, or we say the person is a wizard if it's a man. However, the same way we people are born with developmental delays, we also have people who are born that are extra smart. And that's another area we don't even talk about. The gifted children, we don't put them in any programs in our part of the world. We say the child is clever, we just give them table promotion, affecting their way of learning. But for Down syndrome kids, and I like to use the word kids because they are not developmentally developed. I mean, fully developed. So, like, she has a sister that is 38-year-old in age. Maybe her capacity of cognition could be a 5, 6, 7-year-old. So what we do is that we need to make sure that her 5-year-old cognitive behavioral skills that she has, we tap into that. Make sure that she performs and functions up to that level. Once she functions up to that level, we treat her at that level. There's some other kids that might be mildly developmentally challenged or delayed. You treat them, maybe somebody is 30 years old. They have a situation where they can think up to a teenager. You treat them up to that teenager stage. Lovetie raised a point about her sister after she took her to the United States, being able to cognitively function that she could even leave the homes to go to work. Can we not do the same thing in this part of the world? Yes, we can do that. But do we have those facilities in our system? No, we don't have them. What can we do as a country? We now need to embed those things in our educational system. We now need to make sure that the social welfare system and policies in Liberia will cater to these individuals. Because if what the majors are doing now is wonderful, then we need to multiply them. We need to ensure that that particular function, they have more than 30 kids now, within the facility and within the service support system. We have hundreds if not thousands of children across Liberia that need some of these services. But first of all, we as a country, and I'm not saying we as a government, but we as a country must come to accept that developmentally delayed challenges are parts of life. And if they are part of life, we have to accommodate those individuals that have those crises, those situations. I don't believe in tolerating those people because they are wonderful people. Like I told a couple of friends, and I was telling the majors in the office before we came on air, those are individuals that you feel so free around because they're always loving. They're nice people. They need somebody who will reciprocate that kindness toward them. Liberia, unfortunately, and I don't blame anybody, but it's the culture we come from has not yet grappled with it. The next thing I want to say is that as we go through this conversation, and Mrs. Major stated here, is that they do not have fundings. They're relying on whatever little money they make in the States, and then when they come back, they bring that money here and they're investing into these young people. The next thing is that the government of Liberia must look in its health and social welfare budget. If there is no line item in those budgets, they need to put a line item in those budgets to seek and to provide those services to those people. I know at the Ministry of Health there are a lot of monies that go to orphanages. Some of them are quacks and fraud. Some of those monies should be redirected to programs, real programs like the program that is being run by the majors in Liberia. Look at the other thing, Emeka. This man and his wife decided to convert the property, into a home for children that need help. Is there anything bigger than that? If there's anything bigger than that on earth, which is compassion, then show me one. I will tell you why I gave them more reasons, and I think that the Liberian people should understand that this is indeed an opportunity for us to start helping these individuals. Because once we help these people with developmental challenges, we help these people with Down syndrome being just one of the several conditions in developmentally challenged individuals. The next thing that will happen now is that we'll start looking at people who have mental illnesses. We'll start looking at addiction. We'll start looking at all of those vices that affect our society, that we've swept under the rug and don't believe that those people need a space to survive.
Now the reality of this whole situation is, if there was now, like I said to my mayor, Burke, I keep looking at the mayor, trying to learn from him. I got a stepchild. I love her a lot, and that keeps my relationship going. If it was Lovetie's child, it was a different situation. You meet a woman, you fall in love. I mean, he grew up in the community, so I know he knows Tituma too from his own way. But her sister, so to even lend support, is a family worth clapping for. It's a family worth congratulating. I always say one thing: we applaud the wrong people. Let's applaud them. And I know you all listen on the radio this morning. I want you all to go down to Gator. Everybody know what Enter is Teddy Woda Yard. See for yourself what they've done. Go out there if you're from that community. Go to the St. Andrew's Lutheran Church. See with your own eyes what to do. What has been. Everybody know Tituma in Gator. You've been to that yard. Everybody have been to that yard. Bought bread and everything. Tituma is a wonderful young lady. But the reality is support. There's only a few people. And they didn't have to make him to say, oh, he went to America, he had to change or whatever. It must be a bond between two people to say we'll do that. But on a more serious note, the society has neglected a lot of people. I've been noticing lately there's been a lot of mental health patients all in the street. More crazy people. They just laying in the street, walking butt naked, exposing whatever in the street all day. Nobody's doing anything. But this one is serious. I'm yet to believe, I'm shocked to believe that there is no care, but the Ministry of Health will send money back to donors that they didn't use. It's a joke. So we'll go back to Lovetie. Now, Lovetie, let's look at a situation. You follow the Down Syndrome Association of Liberia.
Yeah.
Now, you've been doing this on your own with the help of friends. How have you been managing, getting support to set up this whole project? How much is being used? How much is needed? What's needed? What's the dream? Where do you want to take this to?
Well, the whole master plan is in 5 categories. We want to. The first thing I want to say that we just don't want to continually holding our hand or begging for money. Our whole concept is entrepreneurship. Okay, we're trying to develop a system where these children can come to we'll build a facility for them where they can live and work and be productive and feel a part of society. I know for sure of my own sister's case, when I brought up, society was still not willing to accept her. So one of our major plan right now is to buy 100 acre of land. Okay, we have located a spot in Lower Magibi County. We've generated through fundraising about $13,000 towards a $300,000 goal for the land. On the land, we have the 5 pillars vocational training program, which we started that facet already in Gay Town Old Road. We have our commercial aspect of our program, because wherever we produce in our programs through vocational training, we want to sell. Okay, we have residential aspect of our facility where these kids can come and live there, because again, like Doc has said, that we have these children all over Monrovia, maybe all over Liberia. We may have maybe 3 in Lofa, 5 in Cape Mount. We can bring all of these children together and they can live together one place. We have another aspect of our program, the recreational part of our program. Mahasapil have partnered with Special Olympics International, where opening up for these kids to come for social events. We plan to build a stadium in our facility. And Special Olympics is all over the world, and we can serve as an anchor here in West Africa for the other West African country, and to intramural games with other kids with intellectual disability around the world. Another facet of our program, which is more important, is the teacher training aspect of our program. In Liberia, we have no training for teachers with special education at all. Okay, so most times when these children go to school, even the teachers laugh at them, and the registrar, as soon as the parent bring the children to the registrar say, oh no, we cannot take your child, we don't have space for your child. So we plan also on training teachers and doing building a facility where teachers can come. We can invite other professionals from out of the country to come and train our teacher in special ed. So it's a holistic.
So can people volunteer to come and help and do things on certain days?
On Saturday, we run right now. We run two programs. We run one program the last Saturday of every month. It's a respite program, and volunteers come. We have about 50 children in that program. For example, if you have a child with a disability and you have 5 children, we take that one child and your other 4 children and keep them at our facility from 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where one time you can give the parent that day to go to the market and do things that they want to do. So that program is not for the children per se, but it's giving respite to the parent. Because I grew up in a large family. Most of the time as siblings, okay, my mom would say, go do this, go bring this, go bring this. So it's one time the children can have fun. And in that program we give them breakfast, lunch, and a snack. We need help, even if it's nothing about one bag of rice, okay, to say, okay, you can use to feed the children. We don't only feed the children, we feed the volunteers as well. So if you listen to us, we need volunteers. Before the program, I will give you our telephone number at our office where you can come, okay, apply, to volunteer in this program. And can children just walk from the street and come to the program? No, there's an application process as well for kids to come to the respite program. And we also start a vocational training program as well for kids with intellectual disability from 14 to adult. The respite program is from birth to adult, but the vocational training program is from 14 to adult. So again, as we describe how these children look in the community, you can help us by looking your communities, see if you locate any of them and then direct them to where we are. And as he also stated that we funded Down Syndrome Association of Liberia, all of what we are saying today is all first for Liberia. And the purpose of the Down Syndrome Association is to let parents know that you are not alone. Just March, okay, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital brought 17 children to our organization with Down syndrome. Okay, mothers, first time giving birth, 24-year-old mothers, okay, for the first time with Down syndrome, don't have no idea how to care for these children. But when I brought them together, they were able to talk to an experienced mother like my mom, who have been dealing with my sister all of these years, to let them know that these children are loving, okay, and even though they will not develop like regular children, but now help has not come for them, which was not there when my sister was born.
Let's talk to Burke, the supportive man who's on board, the backbone of this whole project. Burke, how has it been? I know you only like this woman to go that far. You must love her enough to go that far.
Well,
you bring the mic closer, just hug it. Yeah, pull it, yeah.
When you said don't only love this woman, I love my wife, I love my family very well, and it is a sacrifice that we make, but it's a sacrifice worth making, because the kids that we're talking about, they're special in a special way. We just don't see that as they mingle in the communities. The communities look at them differently. But if we can help the community to see how loving the kids are, that brings pride and joy to my life. And I'm happy to be there, be part of it, happy to be part of it with my wife, to help bring joy to the other kids that being left behind. So it's a challenge. It's not easy. There are a lot of times she and I discuss a lot of things, not just the coming and going, but like she says, financially we are financially supporting this program, and as of since the beginning of the program, there have not been any help. However, we have been blessed by God with whatever resources we have directed it into this program to try to bring some laughter in the lives of these special kids. And to the community out there, if you give these kids the chance, you will see how loving they are. That's all they want to give. They want to they want to be loved just like we want to be loved. And a lot of time we try to shun them. We call them names, as Doc said. And if we can just take a moment and think about it, if people were calling us names, how would we feel? And so it's time that we try to look in the community and see these kids and give them the love that will help bring up their potential, because they do have potential. No matter how old they are, there's still potential in them. We all, if you give the motive of the Mahasapi, every child can be productive. So if you give them a chance, they can be productive.
Now, Doc, let's go back to you. You being in the health sector, work there from a plain and educational sector. You already talk about the government funding and thing. Now, look at this program and evaluate. And let's look around the whole country. There's no facility. So if we were to go around Liberia today and do check Down young children, I will evaluate right now and say we got almost 10,000 plus children. And there's no care for them.
I don't know the number.
Parents will abandon them. I mean, I look around the whole Liberia down. I've seen them all around. There's something about Down syndrome children, they all look the same in the face. We've seen them in the towns, we've seen them in the villages, everywhere.
Yeah, and this you're right. This we don't. I don't think we have any program like that in the country. And this is the first one, especially organized program wherein somebody has a graduate degree in special education. I know one other guy who went to college with me. I mean, he got a graduate degree in special ed. I will try to get his number from somewhere. But the essence is, and Lovetie struck a point that just touched me. The respite program on Saturdays. You know, when people have family members that are developmentally delayed, there's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, I'm talking about physical, emotional, psychological work that goes into it. There is a need for them to have some reprieve at a certain point in time. Otherwise, they themselves will get worn up and then something will happen to them. That you have that portion of the program that takes away maybe the mom or the dad or the primary caregiver from the kid and the other siblings, so that particular person can have their own time. If it's a family, husband and wife, the wife and husband should have their own time if they have a child that has this thing. And that's also commendable. But there's also another thing that comes in. The siblings are, in most instances, when you have a child that is developmentally delayed, if you're not careful as a parent or as parents, the other siblings are cheated off of your time. Because everything is around this one special child, if you're not careful. So those other siblings, we know naturally when we're all okay, and I put that in quotes, we're all fighting for mom and daddy's love. Anyways, then you have this one child that is special, that takes on all of mommy's time, all of daddy's time. The siblings themselves start to fight that particular individual if they are not given the capacity to understand that this their brother or this their sister is as loving and as caring, but they've just not developed fully as the other brothers and sisters. And I think what you do, we've not talked on this more, but I think what you do also is not just giving mommy and daddy space to do some other thing. You also try to educate the other siblings about the conditions of their relative, their brother or their sister. The other part you talk about is that people can come in, but they can't just walk in, and that's why they come to the Liberian psychology. People would think, oh, this is a free place, let's just take our children. No, I don't think that's the intent. The intent is those families that have family members, or those family members that are having developmental delay challenges. It is hard, and Liberia should hear this. It is hard to just raise a normal, regular kid. It is just hard to raise a normal, regular kid. We all, when we're boys and girls, we know what our parents went through. Then to raise a child that needs all of your time is even more difficult. The father, Lovetie, and her husband could take on her 38-year-old sister, chronological age, who might be at a certain level but not fully developed. It's something that's even hard on them. They might have their own children, but they have to ensure that they work out a schedule wherein the children will lose out some time with them because they have to concentrate on working with those children's aunt, which is also commendable to the children. As a country, what can we do better? What can we do to make this thing better? I personally believe that because this is a top bottom approach kind of thing we do in this part of the country, the highest office in Liberia should get involved in ensuring that this awareness is made concrete, and that's the office of the president. And I personally believe, and if somebody is listening to these discussions on this radio and have the ear of the president, they need to throw this into her direction, because when she steps in, and she's being a mother, a grandmother, and a loving person, she can help us to now create this awareness, because these young men and women are in the society. They need help. They need to be supported. And as they are giving help, we ourselves who find ourselves in the helping profession, whether we're educators, whether we're therapists, whether we're psychiatrists, whether we're psychologists, or social workers, and the rest of it, we will be in a position to now provide more service. Besides that, we also, as a society, will now understand that these individuals that have these developmentally delayed challenges are not negatives or are not excess baggages to the society. They are also surpluses. The vocational educational component that you are doing at Heart's Appeal is a good thing, because you just don't keep those children in an environment because you want them to be safe, in terms of they don't run astray and the rest of it, but you give them skills based on their level of development. If a child is thinking like, the tell 8-year-old thinking like a 12-year-old, but 12-year-old cognitively they should be built to a certain level. They can now be getting involved. They can get involved in maybe soap making, tie dyeing, or pastry, and the rest of it. And as they do those things, they get appreciated. And when they get appreciated, they become accomplished. When they become accomplished, the society becomes satisfied. We have to, Emeka and the majors, we have to make this thing in Liberia. We have to make this thing a serious thing. It's for the kids, yes, and their families, yes, but it's also for the nation, because this is one of a few countries, I think, and again, I have not researched that might not have facilities like this to help children in this kind of condition and this kind of situation. If you listen to what we're saying here, Burke, Lovetie, and myself, we're calling these individuals kids because we're looking at their psychology. Their cognitive development has not reached fully to maturity, so we call them kids. It doesn't mean that they are children in terms of chronological age, but they need help as much as we give them help. The individuals who have the conditions, we are also giving help to the parents and the family members, because in the helping profession, this initial supporting system, the support system, the family, if you don't support the family goes into a situation of collapse. And that's why most times it is that some of these young men and women are allowed to just roam the streets, because the people don't understand it. Your sister and your sister-in-law spent 10 years with you in the United States, and you brought her back to Liberia. When you guys were carrying her out of this country, everybody says, "Oh yes, this is the taking the crazy woman out of out of this country. Why they can't carry quality people?" I know those are some of the statements they made. Why not carrying people who can become good for them? But they can't carry the crazy woman. Yeah, they can't just stay here and die. Those kind of comments. The fact that you carry her over there and over the time got her in programs that made her to now start appreciating herself, that made her to now start performing to her cognitive level. You brought her back here. It becomes a little challenging, I think personally, that thank God you are here and you're working with her, you have this organization, because otherwise, if she had just come, or if I just brought her here, just drop her, she was going to recede into even worse situations, because love was going to go out of the window, compassion and those kinds of things that brought her to that level. And so it's good you're using your story and you're telling your story to the Liberian people. Other people will keep it as a family secret, but it's not you that brought it on you. And who told you that you can determine to God what should be done about and of people? A couple of days ago, I was in a conversation with some kids, and what they were talking about, oh, my name is this, my name is not good, my name is not that. I said, look, if everybody were to be asked by God as to which parent they wanted to go to, or which family they wanted to go to. A lot of us who wanted to go become the children of the Queen of England. You understand? But God assigned you to certain family for a reason. And I have not, in a long time, in a long time, I have not been my heart has not been as jelly as I am today. Because this is love par excellence. If there's any love more than this, Liberia,
Let's ask somebody.
let somebody tell me. And the only thing we can do is, Emeka, we need to pounce on this. This thing needs to get out of Nubian studio. It needs to get in the streets of Monrovia. It needs to get in the offices of our government. And it needs to resonate in the highest office in our country, in the presidency.
I have a personal relationship with Titima. I met Titima during the war. And up to today, where she met me is how she remembers me.
Okay.
She called me that name where she met me.
Okay.
I look at Titima as a sister because I know the family. I have to have a personal relationship with the girl, and I know one or two. I got one or two friends who have children with Down syndrome. Lovetie, but this is my business. I promise you, these doors are open to you. We will do all we can to help to raise funds, create awareness. I'm talking to publicly. I will bring my friends from Front Page, Daily Observer on board. I'll talk to the Inquirer, Heritage, to give you guys the maximum public support and awareness, even at on mail. We'll also try to raise funds, bring in money. But I'll always tell you, like I told you the other day, in Liberia, if you go every day and ask, they get tired. So do it like how other major NGOs are doing it, run it like a business to be able to sustain. Because at a time to come, you have to be self-sustainable. And you can run a successful business and turn things around here.
But Emeka, if you listen to Lovetie's statement, there's a whole plan, the 5-prong plan that comes out, and there's a major component that has to do with the business aspect, the not-for-profit business aspect. You're not doing it to make profit, but you're doing it so that whatever funds come in, you can turn the funds around to ensure that the doors remain open.
Because if you keep asking the people, you got to come up with different things and let the society see those that are neglected at a level that they can accept them. So in that way, I know plenty of people listening to the radio this morning, they have family members, they have people in the neighborhood. They're going to be calling you, they're going to be looking out. And like, oh, there's somebody now. Some people will, like, expect this too, Lovetie. People bringing their children and dashing in and running away.
Yeah, people will do that.
People are going to start doing that because they don't want to take them back. I mean, there's so many people here. I tell people, crippled people, handicapped people, they don't have deficiency.
Physically challenged, we call them this time.
Yeah. Why will you neglect staying in the street and beg your whole life when you could go to school? I went to school with a guy like that, Kpangbala. Kpangbala worked at the U.S. Embassy as a security guard with thing there for years. Why would you just consider yourself, and Kpangbala made money? And I saw him the last time around the street. I said, Kpangbala, I'm not giving you a dime. You work as you keep getting fired because you drink too much. But he's a smart, he went to school. Kpangbala went to high school, I think he went to college. But you don't want to accept that you all rebel. You got woman, you got children, you know, not a pregnant woman, everything. You don't want to move out of the group of 77. We also have to educate them. And I will volunteer our time with the radio. We'll come there some days live and hang out with y'all. We'll raise funds. We're going to put boxes at our friends' businesses. Whenever we have events, we'll put a box there. And we'll stay into the door and collect money. We'll help you all. Because we believe in what you're doing. I tell a lot of people to pack up, to have family in the States, could leave them, come here and do what you do. I know where you all come from. You could be sending the money every month to your mom, whatever. But to care to come. And that's why it's imperative from this government and people that a lot of people who come home to help are sincere. I've been to Magdala Cooper Place and I always say, and Mr. Oz, I respect that girl for what she's doing for the children. So as the government do their budget, social welfare has been an issue here. The component of social welfare has been down. It's only being health. We just use the word health. What? These kids are neglected. I mean, I can even, like I said to you, Doc, earlier. You didn't run out away Ebola. You got children. Sonny Ferrer who got children. Your child who has Down syndrome sick. Trust me, they won't even care in the hospital. So some parents here, they got 5 children. And one of them have Down syndrome sick. And the other 3 sick. They will care the other 3 and leave that child. I can bet you. I've lived in Liberia to see it. That child ain't no benefit. Because you have, when you God gave you that child, that child whole life in your hand until you go to God. Now, if the siblings don't take that child as their own, that child in a dead or in the street. But everything is a blessing. I had a niece, which is very emotional to me. My oldest brother, daughter. Me and my older brother look the same. She got burned. Yes. A man frying don't know where inside leg was there. Fell in the water. And I remember her at the hospital. And she said only me and her father should touch her. I mean, she was burned. And she said, I'm already in too far. Will people accept me? That was a baby, 2 years plus. She was already thinking about the society, how they were going to take her as a burned child. And what was emotional was that I and my brother were the only two. She said the nurse, no, but we should touch her and clean her. That struck a chord. And I said, I will not have a child till I get money that they don't have to. They don't have to. That's why I'm very particular with my stepchild, daughter. You know, I'm very where she go around and things. But people here neglect. The people got whole children, they want a child where everything working. There's something. But the society have to look. Sometimes your little beer money, I know some of my men can go to the club, they spend $200-300 top ballers a night. I got a bag of clothes to my house right now. I'm sending for it to give it to you. I got computers here, I'm giving it to you. We've been deciding who to give it to. They'll give it to them. But people have to realize that you will build your high walls, but there are people living behind that wall.
Yeah.
If you don't look beyond that wall, and the same people will climb over that wall and come here and destroy you. We saw it during the war. We never used to obey walls. We think building these walls are for security now. It is not. To just be cool in the community. I can assure you, Mr. and Mrs. Major, you will walk down a Gay Town road. People will come out of the house. They will put lapa on that road one day. Those children, their prayers and the prayers of God will bless you. I tell people my blessing comes from the people who I've looked for. I go to the Teddy Water house, to your man. If I say I come in, they know my soup in the house. Kidney beans or quesadilla with beans. Just like to your sister's house. It's been a relationship from 1990 to today. If I get every day and pray, I'll tell my girlfriend, I know somebody that are praying for me. People you look out for. So it's very important what you guys have done and what you're doing. You here, you're professional, you're pilot, you have to leave it, your family. I know where your wife here, you there with the kids on that side and everything. Only a few people will do it. Only a few men in the society, in our Liberian society, help their wives. Only a few men will walk with their women.
But let me come in to another point, Emeka, because this is the appeal part of it, and I like the way you went through with it. We have to step up. I can say you have my service free of charge. I would provide psychotherapeutic services to you. You will sit and discuss the details of it. We can expand on how we can help these young people. Basically, not just the young people, but their families, because the support system is very important. You will not keep up some of these children in your facility all through. Some of them are out I mean, they are day students or day patients, whatever you want to call them. They come and get out. We need to support the families so that when they go out there, they have now to protect their children, or they have to now become voices for those children, because it's a serious thing. And Emeka struck a point. We, besides just government, but we who are human beings, we don't have to be in government, just human beings, or those of us who have the means, it won't hurt if you have an extra bag of salt, if you have an extra bag of onions, or even a piece of onion, something that can keep that can put food on these young people's table. People must volunteer. If you're a professional, just come there. Like he asked the question earlier on, come there, give some volunteer time. If we don't do that, the society cannot be correct. And everybody has some kind of passionate part of them in them. If you drink 4 bottles of beer a day, can you cut it down to 3? And that 1 bottle of beer money, just redirect it here. It's not hard. Maybe you will not be celebrated the way you think you're celebrated, because when you go, wherever you go, you do these things and other things, people celebrate you. But somebody somewhere will believe that what you're doing is touching another person's life. The other piece of it is that as we build this kind of discussion, as we talk these kinds of things and have this kind of conversations across the table, it builds in people's cognitive thinking and psychology the need to also want to help people get out of this thing. There's a stigma in our society. We like it or not, it's a stigma. When you have a child or a family member that has those kinds of things, unfortunately for us, we are so superstitious in this part of the world that something extraordinary or in outer space is responsible for those kind of situations. Somebody will say, oh yeah, you know what, they sacrifice that child for the other children. And I'm that the psychotherapist in me speaking now. Somebody will say, oh, you know, man, forget it, man. You think how white woman decide to take her sister away to America because they know what they did in their family. But Lovetie and Burke, you guys don't owe anybody an apology for doing what you're doing, for doing the right thing. And what we can do, Emeka, you in the press, in the media and the rest of it, we need to start thinking about organizing some kind of event, some kind of fundraiser. These people cannot continue to put their hands in their pocket all along. These are some of the responsibilities of governments. These are some of the responsibilities of good citizens that we need to come dip our hands in our pockets. Those of us who have means of putting our hands in our pockets, those who don't have means to put their hands in their pocket, we need to come, not just support morally, but need to provide some physical support, professional support. They're talking about getting 100 acres of land. That's not a small piece of property. They said it costs about $300,000, and Mrs. Major just said they've only raised $13,000 of the $300,000. There's a far cry from where they want to be. But you can't do it by just every day. The two of them will have to go to work. After the work, at the end of the year, they've done the taxes, whatever the returns are. They take those monies and deposit it in this particular project. It can continue. It can be sustained. We also need to start talking to the United Nations system. The UNICEF got a lot of money. UNESCO has some money for research and other things on this kind of thing, Down syndrome, and how the education can go on. The Population Fund, the UNFPA, and all of these organizations, they have some money. UNDP has money. If the people have money, and this is my only thing, I always told people, if you have money to do the infrastructure, whether they're horizontal or vertical development and rehabilitation, you better have some money to put in the human capacity rehabilitation. Because we're just talking about one sector of the population that is challenged, that is underprivileged. Those that suffer from developmental deficiencies and the rest of it. We're not talking about people who have mental illnesses and everything on the other side. We're not even talking about people who are struck as a result of poverty. There's some little programs they're running, the cash program, gender and the rest of it. Those are good programs. But are those programs structured to benefit the population that needs to be benefited most? I think we have taken some steps, but we need to move further. And I'm not stopping my statement until somebody who is hearing us and has the ear of the office of the president gets her informed. And I would suggest to you, if you've not done that already, but I would suggest to you that we have to find a means to get this information to the president. And I know one or two persons that has, one person or two persons that have the president's ears, that just for her to read and see what Liberians are capable of giving. And not everybody comes back from this country. You're a pilot. You're an educator. Why can't you come with master's degree in education and want to be Minister of Education? Why can't you come as a pilot and say you want to be the managing director of the airport authority? You said, no, I'm not coming there. I can provide my services to Liberia by helping lift one Liberian up. And the other part is that we have this developmental agenda called Vision 2030. And I like the slogan, Liberia cannot be lifted except we lift all Liberians. All Liberians mean everybody that is a citizen of this country. Not everybody that is a citizen that has certain conditions, but everybody will have to do that. And we need to get these things. When we leave from here, I will get a copy of this thing. I will pass it by somebody. I will try to set up an appointment so that we can talk to that individual. Because once the power that be, the president, and she's a passionate, compassionate individual, mother or grandmother, read some of these things and listen to them and listen to your story. Listen to what you've started doing. We think we can get somewhere. Maybe using her influences, using the influence of a lot of people, whether the Minister of Education, thanks to her, as per our discussion that she's being involved with what you're doing, thanks to the Ministry of Health, to Dr. Kpangbala for what all they're doing, whether it's minimal, but at least they've given you listening ears. We need to make this thing to happen so that our children are not left by the wayside. I was in Vanjima, I was in Kolahon, or Emeka, you were asking me earlier on where I've been. I was in Kolahon for like 8 days. And I saw a guy who is mentally ill, and he continuously walked up and down the streets, in the Kolahon main street. And every time he walked back, I thought of something. I said, if we had a program, this guy is not violent, but he has some mental illnesses. We don't know what is the cause of his mental illness. If we have programs and other things, this person could be rehabilitated or could be made to function at a certain level. And that's exactly what you're doing. But you only have 30 plus children. If you were to do a survey or you were to go around the country, like we talk now, if this information gets out, once this information is getting out, a lot of people will start looking for your facilities in the Gator. Do you have the space? You don't. Do you have the resources? You don't. But you have the hearts. And if you have the hearts, it is our responsibility as a society to not help you with space, to not help you with the fundings, and not to help you even make it better. Professionals are here. I'm told that we only have two psychiatrists in Liberia, Dr. McLean and Dr. Harris. We know, and few psychologists, few psychotherapists, few special education, educators. But I don't think the special education people are practicing even in that area, because our educational programs, as much as we have certain lines in the education law that says that every child, there should be an inclusive educational program for all the children, I don't think our schools are accepting them. So we need to pull everybody on. Anybody who's hearing my voice and have listened to the story of the Majors and what they're doing at K-Town, and you have something to offer. They're not just looking for money. They're not just looking for food or whatever. But if you have a skill that you can offer, just love. If you just have some extra love somewhere that you can share with these children, I think it's better to come and join this particular effort. This is an effort, like Emeka said, that needs a lot of support. This is an effort that needs a lot of putting our hands around. It's an effort like Liberian cause that needs for us to push forward. Because when we do that, our children that are now in this facility in Gator, that people were calling crazy people, witches, wizards, and other things, can even have programs, exhibition programs that we can go to and see that People they have done tie dyeing. You see their tie dye clothes. We see that they have done pastry. We see the bread that they bake, the food that they've prepared. That we can all sit with them and talk to them at their level. For Emeka, this is very serious. This is very important. And Liberia and Liberians, those of you who are listening, whether you're in the press, or whether you're in government, you're in private sector, if you're a farmer in Lofa, you're a farmer in Nimba or in Maryland, if you're listening to these programs, it will not hurt if you just bring one leg Kenya of pepper, one leg, a tin of oil, and the rest of it. Whatever you can do to help make this program workable for these young men and women who need help is wonderful. And also, there's a need for us to not just hear on the radio all the time. I talk about Emeka, how you guys call it, the trajectory in which the politics is going in Liberia. There's a need to talk on this kind of issue. Can we move this conversation into center stage? Can we make it a conversation about lifting Liberia and Liberians up? If we don't do that, I'm sorry, all of the beautiful plans that we're writing, all of the beautiful developmental plans we've written, because, for instance, if there's a program, and there's a program now that Burke and his wife are running here for these people, if the program is sustained, it takes him back to doing the thing that he was trained for, piloting. Right? And even if he want to come back home and sit here, now he can be doing his job. Mrs. Major is a special ed person. She can continue to do that, and he just support it. But what's obtaining now is that two of them have to leave their children in Oklahoma City, come down here because they need to provide these things over a period of time. Then from there to go back. When they go back, literally, we don't have the quality people to do the work here. They have to be over there with one eye in America, the other eye on the road.
That's very important, and that's why I wanted to talk to you all. So, amidst the odds, are you all ready to pack up home if there's support and thing to run this program fully? I mean, I know you still got a few more years with your pilot thing, you know. So, are you all ready right now? Because once you start this, nobody's doing it, and it's a serious issue.
That's it.
So it will become a situation where you have to be hands-on. And I always say sometimes, the dreamer, the Jacob, the Josephs have to be here. So are you all ready to come in now and take it over? Are you at that stage? You're the husband. Don't want to turn the mic to you. Don't want to turn the mic to you. You got to make that decision.
I love that.
Well,
or you were saying a woman in for you be back and forth.
This is something we have discussed in length and detail as to how we are going to be able to do that, whereas we have our son still in high school, and right now Lovetie is I'm there. What you call it there? Breadwinner. So like I'm the breadwinner. So her schedule is flexible, and she has the specialty in special education where she can come and be on the ground if need be. Also, we have established office, Mahasa office in the United States also, where she's doing fundraising also to try to help promote the program. And so somebody has to be running the office in the States also, as well as here. So, but we are flexed to that. We know that eventually we all will be moving to Liberia for the program. Our son is in the 12th grade. Once he gets out of the house and goes to college, we are available to move home and continue in the program.
So, Lovetie, from your perspective right now, you have heard everything we said. What do you want? What do you want from the Liberian people? What do you want from the Liberians the people listening today, and to tell other people that is needed? What is your story? What is your plea?
First, I want to openly say to you and your station here, thank you so much.
We're family.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I heard you say, reach the president. I've been there. I've talked to her. I've shared everything I have with her, because it's my place to update her on what I'm doing, even if she's not there yet. But every opportunity I have, I make trips to all of the different stakeholders and let them know what I'm doing. So I have done that.
Good.
And to the Liberian people listening to me today, I want to say thank you all for lending your ears. As my colleagues have stated so well, we want you all to visit your conscience. Okay, today is my family. Tomorrow it could be your family. Okay, it's not a disease. It's not a sickness. It's just a genetic disorder that can happen to anybody. So I want you all to join me. Volunteer. Like, we need volunteers. We need right now. We at a temporary location where we can only take 28 children in as a pilot phase in our facility now. But we want to aggressively start working on purchasing our land and building our buildings to open more doors for children around the country. Right now we need help. Our program, the kids in our vocation training program, the parents really do not want them. They don't even want to bring them to the program. So we have a bus that goes to the homes and pick them up. Okay, again, we have to pay out of our pocket. We rent a bus $60 every day, round trip, to pick these children up. Okay, we've been trying to look for means of getting our own bus, so we don't have to keep renting the bus every day. So we appreciate we've not just begging for bus. We've raised $8,000 towards buying our bus. Okay, so if you can help us along the way to get to add up to the money, that would be very much appreciative for us with the bus. Our respite program needs toys for our children. Okay, we need a TV for the kids to watch. We just have a little small TV the kids to watch. I mean, just come to our facility, or we have a website which we'll announce, where you can go on our website, see what we're doing. We have a need list there, but we really will appreciate you all coming to see what we have done and looking in your communities, because these children are hiding in the homes. Only you know them because they come outside once in a while either to get water or to just look around and run back. So if you can identify, we'll give you some feature characteristics, how to identify our children, because for some of you listening, the word Down syndrome, you may not know what it is about. You may think that is some disease or what, and some of the children look like you and myself, normal children, but that those children that go to school and they fail the first year, they come back, they fail the second year, and they say NTR, never to return. Okay, those kids have intellectual disability as well. But again, we appreciate you if we open your doors to us, okay, where we can come in, tell you more of our children and how loving they are. And we would just love that, but we really want our own facility, where we can actually start working. And once we open, we're planning opening our bakery by September, and we will be reaching out to you to help patronize us. We have things on our facility that the children make. We appreciate you, telling your friends about it, so we can sell it again. Like our host has said, we don't want to keep holding our hand begging for money. So if you give us $5, we want to be able to turn our $5 around and to help sustain us. And that's the whole concept of our program. But we've been around since 2011, and we are not going anywhere. We're here to stay.
Wow. Okay. Now you heard it yourself. So this morning, my bad. I always cut the mic up. My allergies be on, so I be breathing to the mic. So this morning you heard the plea. It's going to be a continuous plea. Nubian 96.7 and New Era Inc. will work with this organization. We'll partner. We will make sure that it succeeds. We'll help them raise the funding. We'll knock on all the doors of our friends. We'll use our connections and network, me and Doc here, and we'll bring people on. And we can assure you, like we say, We're not only talking jazz. We're for real. That all will be well. You heard the plea. You're here on a daily. You hear the drops on a daily. You can go down Gay Town. The Teluoda home is where everybody knows. You will find it right opposite the Lutheran church. There's only one Lutheran church. You can go in. You can see for yourself. You can also go to the website. Where am I going? Who's here? Which is www.myheartsappeal.org. So you can go to the website. You can check out the work. You can go there hands on see. And you can call the numbers to call our the website. Yeah, you can come. The numbers to call at 0777-437-443 or 0888-101-049. And it's opposite, the St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, Gaytown, Sincon, Oro. Go there today, give your own. And for those in the States, like I say, go straight to the website, myhearts, HEARTS, appeal.org. So today, let's give it a hand. And I would like to read a humanitarian quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, "We are afraid to care too much for fear that the other person does not care at all." We are afraid to care too much for fear that the other person does not care at all. That's for Eleanor Roosevelt. So I want to thank you. I want to say these doors are open any day, whatever you want to do. Whoever you want to reach in the media, we'll talk to them. We'll bring some other partners on with us. Our expertise includes events planning, fundraising, whatever. We'll help you all with it. And we thank you. There's a lot of things you may not hear for a lot of people. Thank you. But consider it a blessing and an added value. That doors will open. It is going to work. Once it's sincere, it will work. And we thank you all this morning for coming on
Thank
the
you.
Nubian Morning Show. Nubian 96.7 is another day. You heard it all. You heard it yet. That's what we do. We bring it live to you. There's a lot more news than just getting on the government issue. But there are news that we can partner with each other and build a better society. And that's what we do. And we do that best. 96.7, enjoy your day. It's Thursday, 2 days to 26. Remember, on 26th day, you have the chance from calling all over the world. Your loved one's going to call you. You can call them and you can wish them a happy 26th. Let's just be jolly amidst the odds. But Ebola is for real. So take precaution. And remember that there's a bigger goal out there bigger thing out there for Liberia. God has a purpose. And on Friday night, we're going to be at Deja Vu. And is it, you can dance, Morovia, supporting them, promoting them, and be out there, party. But also remember, take your precautions. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning.